Was your mother in your life? It seems like your dad is like a big hero for you.
He is. My dad is like a G. Like he's I call him the OT engineer. I do know my mom, but I was primarily raised by my father and my grandmother and great grandmother.
Yeah, it's just because like I wouldn't say I fundamentally disagree with you guys, with what you guys are saying, but I'm not. I'm atheist or agnostic. I'm not practicing of any religion, but I grew up in the church for 16 years. So my mom made me go every weekend.
Which church?
Baptist.
Well, why are you wearing a cross if you're atheist?
For fashion and irony. I don't know. Yeah, sorry. Is that blasphemous? But it's kind of like a fashion thing.
It's just
right
kind of
now.
strange.
It's definitely a trend.
You know?
I mean, I still grew up in the church. I still say I'm spiritual, but I'm not practicing. I don't like follow the gospel like that. But
So you more so like believe in God and Jesus, but just not the church structure?
No.
Oh no.
I have a connection to the church, and I'd say I have a connection to my spirituality, but I don't believe.
Okay.
I don't believe that I would know if there was a creator.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but
just relativism.
yeah.
Okay.
But back to my point, what I was saying was like, I feel like I do agree, but I don't think it's fair to women out there, especially women who do work to organize their lives around their families. Because I had a single mom, and the way you describe your dad reminds me of the way I felt about my mom, you know. And although I do think women are more emotional, and that like increased emotional response can lead to like playing checkers instead of chess, I think maybe when women are able to subtract men from their lives, or like just like, I don't know, I think that there are women out there who can play life like a chess game, or that like I wish I could say that I could, you know, even though I was born a woman.
Don't you think your mom probably had to lean into her masculinity because she was a single mom?
Oh, definitely, but I don't see a problem with leaning into your masculinity.
But
I wish I could act like I was playing a game of chess.
In order for her to go to her point, you're saying that you notice some of the things that she's talking about relevant to your relationship and your dynamic with your mom, but she had to take on a masculine role. So she probably had to do some of the things that she's describing her father did, correct?
Yeah, but she's a woman.
Yes,
But-
of course. I know she's still a woman. I'm saying she had to lean into her masculinity in order to probably protect you, provide for you, and also nurture you. So she had much more to do, but those aspects of protection and provision are masculine.
I think that I could be leaning into my masculinity more like on Tuesday than I was on Wednesday, but like they're just all abstract concepts, and at the end of the day she's a woman, and we're making
If they're abstract concepts, then why would you bring them up as being a differential between the two things if they're just abstract?
They are abstract, but what I'm saying is I think it's problematic to...
Yeah, but you're a relativist. Everything's abstract.
That's okay.
And why is
Right?
it problematic for her to put her father on her pedestal?
It's not problematic for her to put her father on a pedestal.
Well,
I'd say it's
what aspect
problematic
is
to
problematic?
say that men are always playing chess and women are always playing checkers, because chess is fundamentally a higher intelligent game.
Is that a truth statement?
No. I'd say...
No. So then why should we believe you if it's not a true statement?
Why should you believe
Why
me?
should we believe what you just said, that some women are doing this, some men are doing that? You just said that it's not a truth statement.
Well, if you want to actually talk about logic, though.
Is it true or not true?
It's a logical fallacy to say something is always one way and never another way.
What's that fallacy called?
It's a trend.
Is it called the "I just made it the fuck up" fallacy? So
No,
back to
no,
where I
it's
was
not.
at.
It's not called
So back to
that.
where I was at
not called
when we're
it.
talking about relativism, which is what we're talking about right now. You can't make truth claims.
Relativism is what you're talking about. Okay, I was just talking. She was talking about a trend that she's
but it's
observed.
not. When you say,
she's talking about a stereotype.
When you say
between,
something like "I disagree," when you say something like "I disagree with you," this is not true. This is true. You're a moral relativist. You don't even believe in a standard for truth. You have no standard for truth. Why would you ever make a claim something is true or not true?
Well, you just hate all relativists. I was having a conversation where I was...
Is that true?
Well...
Is it true that I hate all relativists?
It might be, because you're not a relativist.
Is that true? That might be true?
Okay, I'm sorry I had a relativist argument, but the point that I was trying to make was the phrase "men are playing chess, women are playing checkers" is a stereotypical phrase, and I'm sure she might also concede that there are outliers to that. Mm-hmm. However, I'd saying maybe a better way to phrase it, as she was saying, was it is more masculine to play chess as perceived in our society, because we have for so long said, oh, men play chess, Like, yeah, like, of course, that's masculine. You're becoming more masculine if you're starting to play chess. Why can't I just say she's becoming more strategical?
Why
can't I just say she's becoming
I
more
think she's using it as an analogy.
Can I ask you a
I'm
question?
aware.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions, I guess. One, would it be as offensive if I in fact said women play chess and men play checkers? And 2, actually, you can answer that one first.
I don't think it's offensive at all. I was just voicing my opinion.
Okay, but when it comes, so in regards to the initial statement, you were talking about being raised by a single mother. Do you think that a man can do the role of a mother? Do you think that's replaceable by a man? Can your father do what a mother does for you?
I wouldn't put it in personal terms.
Well,
I wouldn't put it in personal terms to myself, but I think that a man could easily fulfill the role of a single mother.
I asked because
I wish Grid 1 was my dad donated $200. First girl, word of advice. Stop while you're behind. I will only get worse for you from here.
I'm great at arguing.
Ladies, what are 2 deal breaker characteristics in a man? Also, fuck the ATF. Abolish the NFA.
Yes.
And you know what? To give you credit, it's good that you're at least, because I feel like this panel might be leaning a bit more one way than the other. So I certainly give you credit for being open to disagreement on this.
Well, just to kind of play devil's advocate here, because I naturally agree more with Keisha, but I can see both sides of an argument. And what I'll say is that I think what Keisha was meaning was generalities. Like in general, men think with playing chess and women with checkers. But of course, he already acknowledged over here that there are outliers, that there are going to be outliers in that situation. So just because
the exceptions prove the rule.
Right.
If the exception proves the rule, you wouldn't have the exception.
Right. So we have outliers, we have exceptions, but
which prove what?
Technically, her mother might be one of those outliers. We don't know, but I think that she can actually say, well, I saw my mother fulfilling some of those things. I saw that in her case, so maybe she's just one of the outliers.
Yeah, you can say that, but that's really not in context what the discussion is. The discussion,
it is in context.
The discussion isn't asking, are there going to be outliers in basically every situation we can think of? Sure. Okay, sure, of course there are. Always going to be some kind of outlier for something. But in context, what she's saying is, if you're looking at the nature of men, when they look at the world, they're playing chess. So what she's saying is they organize the world based on a strategic mind. So they're saying everything from how do I want to run the wires for those cameras to how do I want to organize the structures of society. And she's saying if you don't follow that pattern and submit to your husband and allow him to take that role, then in corporate America, you're going to have to do it for a psychopath. That's her whole point. Am I wrong?
No, that's exactly it. And I think another example is like men have told me that when they come up and just have a casual conversation with a woman, they can tell what kind of man is in her life and what level of proximity, like if she's maybe dating, just by like certain behaviors or things that she says and does. Women don't read actions the way that men do, and I don't care how good they are at it, like they just don't read actions the way that men do. We are so deceived by like what we hear, and like it's not the same. We speak completely different languages, and the more that you realize that you are completely different mentally and emotionally from a man, the more you have protection against some of the things that happen, because as soon as I realize a man
Which is how you know she was raised by a man, if it was a single parent, because she's speaking sense.
I was going to ask you, actually, I was like, you noticed that I had you asked me immediately, okay, were you raised with your mother? And probably because you could tell by the way that I'm speaking, what's coming out of my mouth, that there's more of a masculine influence in my life as opposed to a woman's. And so it's something that you delineate already in your mind that's completely different to what a woman would operate in. So it's just a completely different thing. And as soon as I notice that a man is playing chess, I instantly defer to my father. And if I had a husband, I'd instantly defer to him, because I know that I will never win a game of chess against a man. I just won't. And if I try to, as soon as I enter the game, I lose.
That's the part that I find problematic. Yes, the statement overall is true. I won't be a relativist. I'd say as a generalization, it can be said as true. But the reason I don't like that framing is because...
A relativist can't say anything's true.
I never claimed to be a relativist.
You did.
Continue with your point, though.
But just so you know, in the future, you did claim you were a relativist.
Okay.
But
Go
if
ahead.
that's all an agnostic.
Go ahead
Go
with
ahead.
your point, though.
Well, I mean, like, it creates a sense of fear because what if some of the men are stupid? Trust me, there are dumb men out there who are playing checkers. You know,
Yeah, that's what's happening now with the
That's what I'm saying.
deconstruction
Or
of the
what if
family
they're
and everything.
predatory?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the other thing, and we see that happening all the time, where there are predatory men who are actually targeting young, vulnerable women, especially women who haven't had fathers in their lives like you. They target and prey on the vulnerable women, and I think that's what partially what Keisha's trying to get to here is that if men are thinking like with chess, and you're not going to be able to figure out if they're trying to prey on you or target you, you become a vulnerable target when you don't have your father in your life.
But you don't believe that you can play chess too.
Wait, can I ask you something?
And you don't believe that they could be playing checkers.
Can I ask you something though?
Yeah.
Would you like a relationship with a man who will completely take care of you, protect for you, provide for you, stand by you, be loyal, have kids with you, and you could trust that he's there for you 100%?
Shane donated $200.
Sure, I don't.
Third girl, huge pick me.
Do you want to address the pick me accusations?
Yes, pick me, because like what the heck? Why would I want to be in the position to do any of this by myself? Like the amount of things that women are put up to do that they literally cannot handle doing is literally the reason for the destruction of our society right now. Because men are not being respected in their position as men and fathers, and women are taking control and also being told that they can actually do it and then failing.
And a lot of that is because a lot of men aren't present in the
they're not
childhood,
taking
and
accountability.
that's that's what's happening. Is there's just the women are trying to control, and they don't understand and appreciate what the men do because they never had an example of that.
What
Really
other
quick,
choice?
sorry,
what other
really
choice
quick,
would
really
they
quick.
have?
I wish grid 1. We will ask your question here. I'm just letting this conversation finish up. I will ask the 2 deal breaker questions.
What other choice do they have? That's strange. Could you go work on an oil rig tomorrow?
I could if I wanted to.
Oh, so are you saying that you have all the choices that men have right this second?
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
no.
then what are you
no,
talking
no.
about?
Okay,
What are you
no.
talking about?
I don't have all the choices men have right this second.
Oh, what choices don't you have?
A lot.
What?
I can't be as condescending as you.
Well, that's because you just have not acquired this skill of knowledge, which is a prerequisite.
It's because society thinks I play checkers and you play chess.
Yeah, but
so
what choices?
even if I try to be
what
on the same level
choices
as
do
you,
not
I'm
have?
already a relativist.
Hey, great, snark. But can you answer the question?
What choices do I have?
Do you not have?
If there's no man
What
in my life?
choice do you not have that men have?
Okay, what choice do I not have that men have when I wake up in the morning? I cannot walk around with my shirt off. I know that's a stupid, lame one, but I don't know how many of you want
You
me
can
to
walk
think
around
of
with your
on
shirt
this
off.
one. Okay, well, public
Without social
indecency?
outrage.
Yeah.
Yeah. What choices do you have, or do you not have?
Well, this isn't relevant to.
No,
what they
that's
were
exactly
saying.
relevant.
They were saying, can you guys
You
repeat
said
what
it's
you were
because
saying?
women. I'll repeat it for you.
Okay.
You said it's because women have not had the choices that men have had.
That's not
yes,
what I said.
it is what
they
you
were
said.
saying that a woman is trying to be act as a man in their life because there was no man in their childhood. And I said, what other choice does she have?
Okay, so just so that we're clear, you do think from an egalitarian lens then men and women have the same amount of equal choice?
No.
Okay, well then what choices do women not have that men have?
There's a lot. It would be hard for me to delineate them all for you,
If
but
there's
that
a
doesn't mean
lot,
they're
then
not
you should
there.
name one.
That doesn't mean they're not
If
there.
there's a
Okay.
lot, then
it's
how
not
about
gonna
one?
It's not going to be good enough for you, but sure. Let me think of some of the things. I could probably not go work a contracting job
Why?
because I'm physically weaker.
Okay, so
Biological.
that has nothing to do with the lawfare though.
With what?
With law, so it has nothing to do with the law. You could go work as a contractor.
Okay, but
There's
they were
nothing barring
saying
you.
women who grow up without male figures typically fail because they're trying to take on these masculine roles, which they are not capable of taking on.
Yep.
What is your question that is challenging
My
me?
question to you just now was, do you believe that in this egalitarian society that men and women have equal choice? You said no.
Yes, that's why the women are failing.
We're not saying they're failing. What we're saying is that women who grow up without fathers in their home, they're made more vulnerable because men who are thinking on the level of chess, who might actually not be a good man, who might be a predatory man, those men see you as an easy target,
Yes.
a vulnerable person that they can take advantage of. See, if if your father's in the home, your father can say, that's not a good guy, don't date him, I see the red flags, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Or the father can set a standard when that man is coming to pick you up for a date. You're going to have my daughter home at this time. nothing funny, or you're going to deal with me and you're going to answer to me. So what we're getting at is the women who don't grow up with fathers, it's not that you're failing. It's more or less that
you
you're
have to masculinize.
no,
That's what
it's
you
that
were
you're
saying, right? That's what she was saying.
No, we're not saying you have to masculinize. We're talking about how you're being made vulnerable because you don't have a father figure in your home.
But aren't male children are also made vulnerable if they don't have the father in the home?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
and
so
they,
it's not
for
just
them,
like-
it's a different thing. They
But
don't. It
I
doesn't tend to go in the form of being
it's not
taken
the-
advantage
Right,
of sexually.
I feel
It
like
usually has to go in the form of more likely to be imprisoned or in jail or having
All those places
doing
you get
drugs and
taken
other
advantage
things.
of sexually,
Yeah,
though.
I would say that
Well,
there's a lot of
not
little boys
necessarily.
that are being taken advantage sexually because they don't have fathers, and
Maybe like by
like-
women.
by men and women. Like I've
The public school system is one of the worst
yeah,
places for
and
males.
women
That's where
are
women are assaulting
very
young
predatory,
boys all the time.
Oh, I
Women
haven't
are
heard about
Like,
that.
for instance, if you were to take, you hear the old trope, the Catholic priests do all the, the kid diddling, but it's actually, if you look at the public schools, teachers do way more than priests ever dreamed of.
Oh.
And if you look at the female population in public schools especially, it's an outrageous amount compared to the rest of the general population. So, and yes, of course, if there's no strong dominant male in the home, those kids would be much more prone
Right.
to falling into that. Yeah.
No,
If
you're
you
right.
think-
I would say you're right. Like overall, a male not being in the home is at the detriment to both children, male or female children overall. And there are different ways I think that it kind of surfaces.
But let me
and
take it a step
tends
further and say
to
it's
trend.
less detrimental
Right.
if a woman isn't, if the mother isn't.
If a
It's
mother isn't-
less detrimental.
if a mother isn't what?
Present in the home. You need both, and it's best to
Yeah,
have both.
statistically
But I think
speaking-
that it's less detrimental to have a single father raising kids than a single mother.
Statistically, it shows that like if a child has both parents, assuming that they're good, they have the best chances for success. And then if they have a single father, they have almost equal chances. I think up to 90-something
almost the same.
percent chance of success. And then if it's a single mother, I think it plummets like negative 80-something percent.
That's the stepdad effect. So the stepdad effect, often that's where the abuse inside of homes comes from. It's from a step parent. Far less likely to see the step parent who's a female come in and enter abuse because, well, it's really hard to do that to a male, right? They can step in and be like, no, you ain't doing shit, or else. So that's the effect. And that's why you see that over and over again play out in society. And
Yeah.
that's why single fathers tend to have better overall overarching outcomes than single mothers do.